By far the most shockingly absurd thing we learned from the recent wave of mass layoffs of Microsoft and Xbox is that at certain points and portions of the company, there were no less than 14 levels of administration, where a decision had to be rubber-stamped by 14 people before it could proceed. That is a level of administrative bloat that the normal man can't even imagine. I mean, try for just 1 second to think of a task that requires the rubber stamp of 14 different individuals. I mean, fuck, nuclear reactors don't have this kind of safety mania. The government doesn't have this level of bloat. It is the purest example of a corporate structure that hasn't merely bloated, it has become you and your entire family, your extended lineage's pension plan. As we also know, of course, that Microsoft has been renewing and extending thousands of H-1B visas, as all of those people being fired, well, they're not getting just replaced by AI, a lot of them are also getting replaced by Indians, which we'll get to in a second, but I'd like to show you exactly the kind of person that is one of those 14 layers of decision making, and that's exactly the kind of person you'd expect it to be. A day in the life of a product manager at Xbox. What even is a product manager? Well, we're gonna find out today. Although, whether or not you'll learn much about it is a different question. So, eating, looking at some of the paraphernalia people brought to work, filming the beanbag chairs in the sitting area of the cafeteria, having a little bit of a chat, maybe for optimistic a meeting, snacking some more, hanging out with friends with earphones on, again, for being optimistic, meeting activity, and that was it. Not a single moment of labor was committed in that video, and this is precisely the kind of people that occupy these positions. This is somebody's rich, spoiled daughter that needed a job, and, well, just slotting her into one of the 14 levels of decision-making at Xbox seemed like a great idea, and Jesus Christ, so, just got the Xbox Gucci collab. Cost $10,000. There's only 100 in the world, and I got number 60. I don't even know if this qualifies as adult daycare anymore, as simply just a form of, I don't know, daddy duty, so as to make sure that you're not disinherited, so that you can prove that you're at least doing something with your life. And my god, the number of these, and not just the women either, by the way. So guy gets up, goes to do some gym work, then works from 7:45 for like 2-3 hours. Then he goes to the gym again at 11:45. So on the clock, obviously. Goes home, has a protein shake, eats a night lunch, whilst tapping away at his keyboard for an entire half an hour. And then there's meetings, and then he's done. I mean, better than the preceding character. At least this guy committed some labor. He probably put in, or let's be optimistic here, a grand total of 4 hours of paid work throughout the day. Well, hey, it's something. And the workout part too. So this character, waking up at 3:45, 4 in the morning, specifically to go to work out. Again, day in the life of a Microsoft intern on Xbox, it says down here. An intern. So this should be the lowest of the low. This is the absolute bottom rung of the totem pole right here. No sound, by the way, it's copyright music, obviously. The kind of person who should be flayed alive for wasting even but a single solitary second of company time, and comes to work, heads to the office, and does some more meetings, presumably. A few more minutes of work, hangs out with friends, hangs out with more friends, hangs out with yet further friends, and then goes bouldering. Fantastic. Give this woman a raise right now. And there's so many of these, and it's all just working out and eating. That's all they goddamn do. And they themselves don't even understand what's bad about that.
Let's get that out of the way.
Listen to this.
And there's a lot of criticism of big tech and people who work in big tech, especially people who are on TikTok and Instagram and like showing their offices and stuff. Okay, I agree. It is a little bit overdone. One of the funniest criticism I've heard, and now I just can't get it out of my head, is someone was basically comparing all these tech perks and food and whatever to like a daycare. So basically, a big tech office is basically a daycare for adults. Honestly, this is hilarious. I just can't get it out of my head because now I feel like I'm going to a daycare because I literally have all those perks. But then I was thinking about it, like, what's wrong with it? Like, what's wrong with having a daycare? I'd rather work from an adult daycare than going to an office where I have to buy my own water. Okay.
What's wrong with working at an adult daycare center? I mean, God, if I worked anywhere else, I might have to buy my own water. It comes from a tap. Mother humper. I will never What's wrong? Okay, now, what's wrong with working at adult daycare is that it isn't supposed to be an adult daycare center. Like, God help me. Like, this is apparently just an absurdity, but over here in the civilized world, you get like half an hour for lunch. That's what you get. You're expected to eat before you go to work. You eat breakfast, then you're out at work, and you work for, most of the day. Then you have food. You have 30 hours or 30 minutes, an hour if you're very lucky, lunch break. And then you're back to work for another 4 hours or so, and then you go home and eat again. You don't eat at the workplace. Even a simple lunch, 30 minutes, snacking. You're not concentrating on your tasks now. Listen, okay, I'm a fat bastard. I snack all the goddamn time, and I know I'm not very fucking productive whilst I'm doing it. Hi, boy, and they don't understand. Okay, finally then, the question. What the fuck is a product manager? What even are these people? So let's have a product manager explain to us what a product manager is. From Xbox, David Life, a product manager.
Hi, my name is Pooja. I am a product manager currently working at Microsoft Xbox. Hi, my name is Pooja. I am a product manager currently working at Microsoft Xbox.
I didn't make that up. That's just her name. I cannot be blamed for anything that happens after this. Let's speed it up a bit.
Yeah, so I work on a ton of different projects in the last 2 years. Our main customers are developers, as well as obviously our gamers and our users. So our real main focus on the game streaming team is to see how we can best improve the player experience with our product. So I've launched a couple of projects in the last 2 years, one being mouse and keyboard support on Xbox Game Streaming or xCloud, but then also releasing a thumbstick calibration tool to improve player accessibility for their controllers via the Xbox accessory app.
Okay, so making things more accessible, good. What was her greatest breakthrough? Adding mouse and keyboard support. That required project management and to be fair, calibrating a thumbstick. Is this the work of project management?
So those are two examples of projects on how we are directly impacting our users and our gamers, but also improving things like visual experience, quality, accessibility to our gamers.
Stuff. Very loose, very nonsensical stuff. But stuff. Stuff that has usually been invented a good 20, 30 years.
Yeah, so every day my calendar is riddled with meetings, and that's usually my typical day.
And there's the real crux of it, by the way. So you could argue that you need somebody to oversee the technicians introducing mouse and keyboard support in 2020 Mother Humping 6. But okay, a theoretical argument after which he should probably be immediately fired. But okay. Meetings. Nothing is less productive than fucking networking meetings. And how, like, listen, sometimes they're necessary. Occasionally you do have to get together to figure out how to do a specific thing, or how to solve a specific project, or to make sure that everybody is on the same, same line, that everybody's working in the same direction, or simply just to inform other people of what you're doing. But meetings, 9 times out of 10, complete waste of time. And if your entire day is just meetings, you are actually getting nothing done. What you are in that case is simply just one of those 14 rubber stamps. You are a part of the chain where a decision begins here and then slowly works its way down through a multitude of people who all need to feel important and as if they're actually earning their paycheck before it actually arrives at a product.
It ranges from one-on-one stand-ups that I have with my engineering team and my dev leads that we work together as PMs. And then I also have a lot of one-on-one with product stakeholders to make sure that we have our requirements aligned, our design aligned, as well as communicating and clarifying and unblocking a lot of the questions that they may have circulating around the product. And these meetings are typically tracking things like product development stages. Are the developers executing where they need to execute? And what are some of the things that we need to do as product managers to then help unblock them to move the product forward? So my typical...
Checking that other people who have actually got jobs are doing their actual jobs. This is classic meeting behavior right here. So you've got people working on something, and then somebody comes in and goes, right, so have you done the thing you were supposed to do? Yeah? Okay, great. Comes back 5 minutes later to check again, and so on. And if there hasn't been done, again, you're then going to have to halt everything, stop working, and try to figure out why it wasn't done. And hey, you know what? In certain cases, this too can be useful, but not as a wholesale position. This is, if anything, somebody that a single supervisor should do, and this is a classic thing that happens from certain regions of the planet, Asia in general, where you need to hire a goddamn supervisor for every 2 or 3 people employed, because otherwise they aren't going to do anything, and they are culturally accustomed to the constant need for supervision. Again, adult daycare.
Typical day generally involves these kinds of meetings as well as spec writing, so like defining the product and designing the product in like a document, and then presenting those ideas to our leadership team, my manager, or my broader team.
Somebody came up with a thing. Here's what the thing is. Would you like to know what the thing does? It's not actually doing anything. And all right, the rest of it is just like personal stories, etc. But that is exactly what the product manager is. It is an entirely superfluous individual that exists for no other reason than to add in an intermediary layer between the people making the thing and the people ordering the thing. So the people up there going like, okay, we want this thing to be made, and sends that down to engineering. Engineering starts doing it. And then another person inserts themselves into the middle to try and make sure that both sides are talking to the other side without actually interacting with the other side. And again, in very specific circumstances, there can be a use for this on very complex projects. For example, if you're making something large, like a full-blown video game, you're going to need somebody to retard wrangle, obviously, but this literally just sounds like meeting all day. That isn't solving a problem, that is solving a mountain of problems. That is talking about a mountain of problems, probably because they're creating the mountain of problems. If you ever have an employee whose sole duty it is to speak to other employees, something's really, really wrong somewhere, and in all due likelihood, it might very well be the product manager or the other dozens of people at Adult Daycare. As of course, here's the thing as well. When people are employed to Adult Daycare, their understanding of it is kind of like, what was it? This woman here, who's like, well, I mean, I am at Adult Daycare, but I'd never thought of myself as going to Adult Daycare. I thought I was contributing at all of these meetings. All of these midwits actually do believe that they're providing some sort of value by simply taking up time and pulling a paycheck out of the company. This is why they're so difficult to get rid of, as well as they will fight tooth and nail to get themselves embedded in all of these projects. As once you invent a layer of middle management, it becomes somewhat difficult to get rid of it, because again, you build that culture that everybody sort of kind of expects, that there will be a Harridan of one sort or another, near university a woman and or brown, that will be looking over their shoulder, making sure that they're actually wiping their arse before leaving the toilet after their ablutions. One of 17, considering how often they snack and or eat during the day. As there's no wonder that Microsoft is currently engaged in this sort of bloodletting, and it will only continue. Like, this is not the end. We've been seeing mass layoffs now in the games industry for what's this now, the third year running? And furthermore, again, any allegation that this is merely just a COVID shift or anything, obviously not. These firings have been going on for almost as long as the fucking pandemic has at this point. This is purging out decades of incompetence and built upon layer upon layer upon layer of absolutely worthless middle management. And it's gonna take yet further years. I mean, hey, them firing, what was it, 4,000, 5,000 people? It's something like 2% of their overall workforce. It's going to be a significantly deeper cut to Xbox itself, obviously, but they're going to need to trim a lot more fat than that still, especially if they want to try and reduce the decision-making levels from 14 to, what was it, just 2 or 3? Well, good luck to all of the tech bros who, are going to be largely replaced, either by AI or by people who don't think they're working at Adult Daycare or who have been imported specifically to work at Adult Daycare. Hard days to be a game developer. Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and I do hope to see you all again soon. Till then, have a good day.